gentlemen. You know, we spent a lot of time in my career trying to understand how adults form and share vacation memories, but I think you're in for a treat tonight because what we did last fall is we decided to go out and ask the kids. And as it turns out, I noticed as you entered the room tonight that we have a number of young journalists here in the room, so when we're done with this, you can tell us if we were right or if we were wrong. And for those of you who like to keep score on these kinds of things, what you're about to see is a summary of information from kids all across America. And it's a representative group of all kids of all ethnicities. And these kids live in spousal households where both mom and dad are present. Most of them have siblings, as you see here. As it turns out, 2/3 of them took at least one vacation with their parents, and about 1 out of 5 with just one parent. Now, the first thing we asked those kids was to tell us about the destinations they dream about when it comes to vacations. And what's really remarkable about this is what we call an unaided response in our work, and that is we don't provide the kids with a list of places they could take a vacation, but rather we simply ask them where it is they would like to go. Not surprisingly, you can see over 8 out of 10 kids in America say they dream about vacationing here at the Walt Disney World Resort. Half tell us they'd love to visit California, but you're about to see tomorrow why fully 8 out of 10 kids in America dream about cruising. Now what's amazing to me about that is that's 20 points higher than adults who dream about cruising in America. Obviously the Disney dream is going to be a spectacular success. We asked those kids to tell us about their most memorable vacation. And what was really interesting was the kinds of vacations that they took that they would recall and share with us. And not surprisingly, these are vacations that they would take with mom and dad. Now, if you have kids at home, I think you'll agree with me that in this frenetic world in which we live today, that finding time for family, let alone vacations in family, is a difficult thing to do. Which is why more and more parents in America tell us that the vacation is really a surrogate for the family time that they weren't able to spend for the past 4 or 5 months. Well, we asked those kids what kinds of vacations they were, and they told us that they were vacations either tied to a religious retreat or a theme park. And where they would take those vacations, well, you can see here, Walt Disney World and also Disneyland. Now, we also asked those kids to tell us about what aspects of the vacation made them most memorable. And you'll notice that the number one thing kids shared with us was simply the opportunity to spend time with mom and dad. Now, we know that in families across America, about half of them do not have dinner together in the evening. So there's this yearning on their part to spend that quality time, and increasingly they spend that time together on vacation. And yes, it's the rides and the thrills that come with those things that make it memorable. And you're going to see in a moment who enjoys them the most. We also asked those kids to tell us how they went about the process of recording those vacation memories. And in this digital age, it comes as no surprise that it is digital photography that is the preferred technique. But you'll notice that kids also tell us that souvenirs from those vacations are a vital catalyst in terms of remembering and sharing those memories. We also noticed that those kids are very active in terms of assembling those memories in the form of scrapbooks. But when we asked them to tell us how they shared those vacation memories, you can see the influence of the new age. And that is, first and foremost, kids are storytellers. And if you don't believe that, just ask a kid about his or her most memorable vacation. But you'll also notice that they are very active in use of social media. In fact, one of the fascinating things that came out of this work is we discovered that more and more kids share those vacation memories in real time. As those memories occur, they share them with friends and family. And you'll notice that blogging is also growing in its popularity. Now, you know that kids rule if you have them at home. Well, let me share with you just how much they rule. We know that according to the kids, that 8 out of 10 say they actually plan what the family does. 8 out of 10 say they decide where the family goes out to dinner, and 2/3 say that they're the ones that actually decide what the family watches on TV. But to all of us in the business of travel, what's fascinating is this statistic. And that is that 2/3 of kids in America say they're the ones that determine where that family is going to go to enjoy that vacation. Now when they get there, there's some highlights and there are some lowlights. And the special privileges kids get when they take a vacation are probably ones that you remember as a kid as well. You got to stay up late, you got to watch TV in bed, you would sleep a little later, you would eat dessert before dinner, and if mom and dad would permit, you might even order some room service. Well, as it turns out, there's some downsides to kids taking vacations. They don't want to share the bed with their brother or sister, and if dad snores, it makes for a long night. We also know that sharing the bathroom, particularly with siblings, is something that is not particularly popular. Well, this is the refrain that many of us have heard for many, many years, and that is, en route to that wonderful vacation. Are we there yet? Well, there is a downside of this to kids on vacation. You'll notice that sharing the car with their brother or sister is not a particularly positive experience. Sitting too long, not having control of the stereo, and if dad threatens to turn around, you all remember those days as well. Well, the other interesting thing is we asked those kids to tell us with whom they would like to vacation. And consistent with their desire to spend more time with their families, it comes as no surprise that 6 out of 10 said they want that vacation time with their mom and dad. You know, we had a theory before we did this work that they might tell us more about their friends. Well, not true, although the friends are obviously very important. It's that time with mom and dad, even more so than bringing along the family pet. Well, the other thing you'll be interested to know is when we ask those kids to tell us about their vacation essentials, it's not the suntan oil and the comfortable sneakers and the clothes, it's the iPod. 1 out of 5 kids say that's an essential item to bring on vacation, along with the cell phone, the video game, and perhaps a stuffed animal. And finally, when they get to wonderful places like here at Walt Disney World, and they have the opportunity to take those thrill rides, the question we ask is, who's the big chicken? And you'll notice that it's mom. Only 1 out of 6 kids said it was me. But they also told us that this is a journey on which dad does not threaten to turn around. Take a look at what some of the kids told us here at Walt Disney World.
I always dreamed to come to Disney my whole life. This is my first time being here. I get so happy when I get at Disney World. The best time I ever had at Disney was spending time with my family and going on special rides. This place is magical. I love it here. Our mom takes 1 billion pictures. No, 1,000,001.
We take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, and we like to buy souvenirs to remember everything too. We take stuff home to be remembered when we were at Disney. I collect chip and nail pins, and it was one from Epcot, and it was a present you could lift up top, and chip was inside the box.
If I had to choose one person to go on vacation with, it would probably be my dad.
I would pick my mom because she would go like on anything with me. My mom, my cousin, Sam, Kyle, my best friend Sarah. I would take my brother because I love him. Are we there yet?
The traveling part is sick.
On the going car rides, I hate the news radio.
When you get up and stand, your legs just go, I'm not used to this anymore. It took forever.
When I'm on vacation, I get to do all kinds of stuff that I don't get to do at home.
I get to stand there. We get to eat more candy.
Lollipops, cotton candy, popcorn,
So our dad buys us whatever we want on vacation.
hard candy, soft candy.